So this is our discussion group for card play technique, or the art of being lucky. This is by Victor Mollo and Nico. It is a pretty solid text. I highly recommend picking up a copy if you haven't already. We're essentially pretty much still at the beginning of this. The book is about 22 or 23 chapters long, so we're just starting chapter 7 today, so there's still quite a lot of discussion going on here. We'll be occupied with this probably up until February. We spend about 4 days on each chapter. It's a little bit loose. Sometimes my PhD work gets in the way and it's tough for me to actually get the discussion prepared. But we spend, it's essentially on Sundays and Wednesdays, we go ahead and try and do a chapter, and we just move forward each week. We have a discussion that gets happening on Discord. There's a lot of good information that people are bringing in from all outside the place. I highly recommend hopping on the Discord, joining us for the discussion. There's a lot of information here that I'm really enjoying and picking up, and it's really immediately applicable in a lot of ways. So, today we're talking about no-trump contracts. Last week we talked about suit contracts and then how we can actually attack suit contracts when we're defending them. So this week we're talking about no-trump contracts, and then next week we'll be, and then on Wednesday we'll be talking about defending against no-trump contracts. So when you're looking at a no-trump contract, one of the very first things you need to do is count your winners. And then once we count our winners, we need to start figuring out our plan. And there's kind of two techniques that we'll be talking about here today. One is kind of how can we establish our suit, and then how can we make sure that opponents aren't getting a chance to establish their suits. And one of the big ways that we can prevent opponents from establishing their suits is by doing something called a hold-up play. And it sounds kind of it means kind of what it sounds like. It means if you have the ace of hearts, but you have nothing else, you have ace third, and you're sitting on there with ace 4-2. And over in dummy, you're looking at something pretty awesome with just a 6 and a 7. So the only thing that you have stopping hearts is that one card, that ace of hearts. What we can do with the hold up is sit there and we can not play that heart stopper. We don't have to play that ace of hearts at our first opportunity. If we hold it up, we give ourselves a chance to maybe sever the communication in between the defenders. We can cut the person who has the long hand off, and what we're really working with here is thinking about what happens when our opponent's cards are split unevenly. So that example I was just talking about, where we had 3 hearts in our hand, 2 hearts in our dummy, then opponents have 8. And it's more likely that those hearts are going to be splitting 5-3 than 4-3, than 4-4. If those hearts split 4-4, then opponents are only going to take 3 heart tricks, and they're never going to take more than 3 heart tricks. But if they're split 5-3, there's a chance that the person who has the 5-card hand is going to be able to run you for 4 tricks. And this is what we're really trying to guard against. If we use this hold-up play, we're going to be showing some examples. Then we can hopefully cut off the communication between the shorthand, the person with the short suit, and the person with the long suit. And we can stop that person with the long suit from taking those extra tricks. So there's kind of 2 parts to this hold-up play, which is, one, we actually have to hold up our card until the right time. And then once we've held it up until the right time, we have to make sure that the person who has all of the long cards, who has that 5-card suit, never gets on lead again. We have to make sure that they're never given the opportunity to score those extra tricks, because that's what we're trying to keep them from doing. So when you're guarding against these longer splits, when you're looking at these a 5-2 split, or a 5-3 split, or a 6-2 split, or say they have even more cards, like a 6-3 split or a 5-4 split, we're looking for ways that things are ways that we can guard against opponents having these long communications. And there's a nice general rule of thumb. If we think opponents have a long suit where they could potentially take 4 or more tricks in our no-trump contract, what we want to do is try and cut off communication between the 2 hands. And we can think about the number of times that we have to hold up according to this so-called rule of 7. And the idea here is you count up the number of tricks that you have, the number of cards that you have in that suit. So in that example we've been talking about with the hearts, which are 3 and 2, we have 5 cards in that suit. And so if we need to figure out how many times we want to hold up, we do 7 minus 5, and we get 2. That means we want to hold up 2 times. So if we have a 5-card suit, if we hold up twice, what we're hoping to do is make sure that we can take our winners even if they're split 5-3. If we have 6 cards in our suit, then it's not necessary for all this to hold up twice, because what we're worried about here is them being split 5-2. If they're split 4-3, that's all right. If they're split 5-2, then if we hold up a single time, once we take our winner, and then the second time, now the person who started with 2 doesn't have any left to go back to the long hand. And then if we have 7 or more cards in a suit, it's often not necessary for you to hold up at all. There's some discretion that has to be involved with this, but we'll look at a couple examples. And then the final thing about holding up is that it's you never want to hold up if opponents can switch to a different suit that is even more dangerous for you. Oh yeah, so the rule of 7, I came across the rule of 7 before in a place that didn't do a good discussion of it. And I think it's a nice rule, but it's better to actually have like the rationale and be able to think through it. Because yes, it kind of gives you the base what you're trying to do, and it brings it all together, but if you don't actually know why you're doing it, then you're going to apply it in situations where it doesn't make sense. So I think it's an okay rule, but there are a lot of times when this rule doesn't actually work. And it's better for you to actually have a sense of what you're trying to do and guard against and think through the hand. So yeah, the last thing is just if you can't afford to hold up, then don't. Make sure that you if there's some place that they could switch to that would be even worse for you, you can't hold up and you got to take your licks if you have to. But everything that we're doing here is guarding against things that are likely to happen. And the more times that we guard against things that are likely to happen, or even things that are a little bit unlikely to happen but still could happen, that's the art of being lucky, right? If we pull all of those things together, the more times that we do them, the luckier we're going to be. We have to make sure that we're taking all of our chances when we have them. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. I've got 2 example problems, and then we have some actual exercises. So this is taken from the card play technique book. It's adapted from it. So we have a 3 no-trump contract. The auction, opponents didn't say anything. We ended up in 3-0. And Wes has led the King of Hearts. So let's take a look at this hand and figure out what we're trying to do here. Plan, take 9 tricks. That's a great start. So let's start by counting our winners. Right, we've got 2, we've got the Ace King of Spades, we've got the Ace of Hearts, we've got Ace King of Diamonds, and we've got Ace King of Clubs. The diamonds look like they should be able to provide those extra tricks for us. There's only one problem here, which is the hearts. We've got 5 hearts in between our hands. If the hearts are 4-4, then opponents are only ever going to be able to take 3. Even if the Queen of Diamonds is offside, they can only take 4 tricks, and we're going to be totally set. But what we need to be thinking about is how can we guard against what happens if the hearts are 5-3. So we're assuming that West is leading top of a sequence. So West is probably sitting on King, Queen, Jack. Let's give them King, Queen, Jack 5th. Let's say they have 5 to the 3. 5 hearts to East 3. So if we play our ace at on trick 1, and then we go and take that diamond finesse very eagerly, and then the Queen is in East, they get to just lead back hearts, and now West is going to be able to take 4 hearts plus that Queen means that our contract just got set. So what we want to do is try and guard against that. So our rule of 7 says that we should be holding up twice here. But let's think through why we actually would want to hold up twice. So West goes ahead and plays the Queen, and we duck around. Then West plays the Queen, we duck around. Now West plays the Jack, and what's happened in East? Well, if East started with 3, East is now completely out of hearts. So we win with our ace. East has no hearts left, and now even if the Diamond Queen is offside and East wins, they don't have any hearts left to go back to West. So this is what I meant by sever the communication between the hands. So we kind of got a quick kind of a default rule with the rule of 7 here telling us that we should hold up twice. But we want to hold up twice because we're guarding against that 5-3 split. It's a good idea to just this is something that was not clear to me and has not been clear to me until really reading this chapter. So I'm trying to hammer it home really for my own benefit. You're trying to think about like what's the worst thing that can happen and how can we guard against that. So let's take a look at something that's a little bit related to this, but not exactly the same, which is kind of a hold-up play is all about us preventing the opponents from establishing their suit. What we're looking at here is something that's a little bit the opposite of that. What we're trying to do is establish our own suit. Back on example 1, there was another point about the diamond suit. Go for it. I'm kind of forgetting, so if I miss something that's pertinent, I don't want to do that, so. You have to take the finesse the first time instead of dropping the ace and then taking the finesse. Gotcha. You need to, okay, yes. So if West is sitting there with Queen 4th, then it's going to be really important that we set ourselves up to be able to take the finesse twice. And if we... Is that what I'm... Am I understanding this right? I'm like, you can end up... Let's see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we have to make sure that we're giving ourselves the chance to finesse twice. Yeah, okay. So yeah, because we only have those 2 leads into diamonds, we can't afford to waste one of them. So we have to make sure that we take our finesse the first time. Okay, if we don't take it the first time and West has Queen 4th, then we'll only ever be able to take 3. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so yeah, that's really important, and I definitely skipped right past that. Okay, but yeah, we have to always be be aware of your entry situation. This is kind of another theme of the Notrump contract, is really be watching your transportation in between hands. Okay, so on this contract, again, we're in 3-no, nothing from opponents giving us any indication about what to do. West leads the 4 of hearts, then we go ahead and play... It's perfect for the example because East is not dangerous. Yeah, there's no example of a danger hand there. We're going to get to a couple of those. And yeah, if the hearts are 4-4, then we're never in any danger. The entire reason for the hold-up play is so that we can guard against them being 5-3. And it's much more likely that your hearts are going to split 5-3 than they are at 4-4. Much more likely is maybe an exaggeration, but it's like 15%. That's a lot. It's enough that you're going to see that 5-3 split more often than the 4-4. So guarding against the 5-3 split is going to pay dividends over the long run, over and over again. So in this contract we have the 4 of hearts got led, then we play the 10. Sorry, we don't play the 10. We play the 2. Then East plays the queen, and we play the ace. The reason we don't play the 10 is because now the Jack-10 together get to form a second stop in hearts. So once we've won that first trick with the ace of hearts, what do we do with this hand? What's our plan? How do we take our tricks? So if we start... the very first thing we want to do with any no-trump contract is count off our winners. Yeah, Recern's coming in with the right idea here. We want to tuck a diamond. So it's a little bit tough to count, but we actually have 7 diamonds in the north hand. So that's 7 plus 2 means we have 9. If we can go ahead and if we can set up our diamonds, we're going to be in business here. And we don't have to win all of our diamonds. This is a key point that we have to remember here. If the diamonds are 2-2, playing ace-king is going to work out just fine for us. But if diamonds are 3-1, what's going to happen for us is we take our ace-king, and then we're going to get cut off and never going to have a chance to score the rest of those diamonds. So what we need to do is try and duck a single time. The book loves safety plays. Yeah, I think it's a good thing to get in the habit of. I have gone down in more than one cold contract because I didn't take a safety play. So like getting your brain into that thinking pattern is really it's something that's really beneficial. Kind of like it's really making me think about hands in a much different way. One thing that Mollo never mentions is that a lot of his recommendations are not good at match points. That's fair. And match points, you often have to take slightly riskier plays to go for the over trick, knowing that other people are going to be doing that with you. But yeah, if you're just trying to play a general good safety bridge like you would at a good safe bridge like you would at EMPs, then these safety plays are definitely where you want to be. So a 3-1 or 2-2 split in diamonds is going to happen about 90% of the time. So if we can make sure that we can take our diamond, set up our diamond suit, and make sure that we're going to be able to take our diamond winners, even if they're split 3-1, we're in business. And the way that we can do that is, as Reserna said, if we duck a round of diamonds immediately, it's all right for us to go ahead and lose one. If they were split 2-2, yeah, we gave up a trick. But we've managed to ensure our contract when they're split 3-1, which is much more likely. He's writing exclusively for scoring at total points. Yeah, it's a little bit different. Okay, so if we can set up those diamonds so that we can take 6 tricks, we don't have to take all 7. We'll be able to pull off the rest. We should be good to go. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of problems that people might not have seen before. So this is adapted from Winning Declare Play, which is another book I have, so it's a little bit different. Let's see. Does he talk about what to do when you duck a diamond and East leads back a spade? It is... I think you're split and you're fine. Yeah, I think the idea is that they can only ever take 2. I think you're split honors. Yeah, I think you have to play one of them. And you can force out the other. And then, assuming that even if one hand has both of them, they're not in a position where they can lead through your second one. So they can take both of the spade tricks, but they can't take... They can take the ace-king, but you'll still have a stopper. Okay. So let's take a look at this one. To set you up, we're in a 3 no-trump contract again. Wes has led the 5 of hearts. We've played a low heart. Let's play the 8, I guess. Then East comes in with the jack of hearts. So question number 1 is, what do we play here? Do we play the king or queen or the 2? And then more generally, how do we set ourselves up to make our 3 no-trump contract? I'm going to give everybody about 30 seconds, maybe a little bit longer to think through this. Okay, Dr. Dogman comes in with their first response, that we need to hold up here. So, pointing out that we have to take the diamond finesse, so yeah. So let's start with, like, what's our worst case scenario? Like, what are we fearing here? And I think Dogman's hitting the nail on the head here. We have to take this diamond finesse. So what we're really worried about here is East has the king of diamonds, so our finesse is going to fail. And then if they're able to lead back through our heart position, and the hearts are split 5-3, then we're going to end up going down in our contract. Because we might win the first trick, but then they're going to get to take 4 heart tricks plus that diamond. So what we need to do is find a way to not let that happen. And as Dogman is pointing out, if we duck the first round, we can make sure that that's not going to happen. So they lead the 5 around, so if they're split 5-3, East comes in with the jack, and we duck with the 2. East is definitely leading a heart back. We play it with our queen, and we play the queen, and then West comes in with the ace. Then they probably go ahead and play the hearts again. At this point, we can go ahead and stop the hearts. We can take our finesse, and now even if East has the king of diamonds, we're all right. They don't have any hearts left to return back to those winners in West hand. So this is by ducking in this by ducking here, we're able to set that up for ourselves in a way that we wouldn't be otherwise. So we have to think about, like, what is it that we fear, and how can we make sure that what we fear doesn't come to pass. Let's look at another one that I've taken from the winning declare play. So we have a 5 spade. Let's see. Defenders can stop this plan if they are on point. If West ducks the heart return, then they have a 3rd heart to set the contract. Okay, so West ducks the heart, so now it's in our hand. We play the diamond finesse, we lose, and they get to lead it back. Yeah. I guess you can't take the finesse until you play the heart, right? But then you play the heart and they just get to take them. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not sure that this is a great example. Yeah, that's a really good observation, Dogman. I hadn't picked that up. But yeah, if they duck that and then you play it out again. Yeah, I think I think like this is one of the things that CPT points out. It's just like you can't win every lay of the cards, but you have to give yourself as many chances as you can. And this is a case where if you don't hold up, you're guaranteeing failure. But if you do hold up, you give yourself a chance to get it right and come through. But yeah, that's a really good observation that I had not picked up. Okay, so on this one, Wes has played the 5 of spades against our 3-no contract, and we have come up with the queen of spades on our trick 1 from dummy. East comes out with the 8 of spades. And so the question, and then we go ahead and play the 3. So the question is, what do we do? How are we making 3-no here? I'm gonna give everybody a little bit of time to think about it, and we want to be thinking like, what's the danger here? What are we afraid of? And then how can we make sure that we're not going to let that happen? Duck in both hands. What suit? Return, are you saying instead of playing the Queen of Spades at trick 1, you want to duck around? So like at trick 1 we're playing the Queen of Spades guaranteed. That's we're gonna take that as a given, and it's gonna hold. But the question is, what do we need to do next? So we see like the danger is West having 5 spades. It's a good start. Okay, we are. Okay, sorry, I didn't explain that very well. So I probably should have done a big circle on this. So the 5, and the setup for this problem, the 5 comes down, then we played the Queen of Spades, and the Queen of Spades holds. And there is a nice little discussion about this that I am completely forgetting. I'll post it into Discord afterwards. About why playing the Queen of Spades here is actually pretty versatile. Okay, great. So we see that East is the danger hand because now this is a good place to start. We want to make sure that we're not giving them a chance to lead through our King of Spades. Pretty sure that the West is sitting over here with the Ace. We want to try and guard against them being split 5-3. Okay, so how do we play this hand so that we can make sure that East never gets on lead and is able to lead through our spade position? We're gonna have to do something a little bit weird here. Play a low heart to the 8. Yeah, you nailed it. So, exactly. We want to make sure, so sometimes when you're trying to do these avoidance plays, when you need to keep a certain person off of lead, you have to do weird finesses. Because it's much more important for you to keep the right person off of lead than it is for you to actually win your trick at that time. So the plan here is we're going to play a low heart, and we're hoping that East follows up with a low heart as well. And when they do, we play the 8. And then we're hoping that West goes ahead and takes the win here, takes the lead. So at that point, there's nothing that they can do to ruin our spades. They're probably going to lead a spade, but the only effect it actually has is by setting up our, it only sets up our King of Spades. And the note that I'm going to post later, I remember a bit of it, but I'm having a hard time remembering the exact bit. But the upshot is you can, based on what happens on this trick, you can play the hand 2 different ways, depending on who you figure out who the danger is. Whether West is the danger hand or East is the danger hand. Excuse me. So playing the Queen of Spades ends up being kind of versatile. If like East had won, say with the Ace, then it's not possible for East to lead back through our spades, and I think we're just kind of set up at this point. We can actually play, and we can play our hearts a different way. We can play the 8 up, and then we can duck once East doesn't cover, once West doesn't cover, and then we can set up our hearts an extra way. So this is something that's just a slightly different, but pretty much the same concept. We want to make sure we're giving ourselves a, yeah, Return, you've got it. We're going to win with the Queen of Spades, and we play the heart to the 8, exactly. We have to make sure that we're keeping East off lead as much as possible. And then as long as West is leading, that King X is going to be totally protected and we can never lose it. And we've got our stopper. So this is a good example of what's called an avoidance play. And it's kind of the second half to your holdup. If you do your holdup play correctly, and then you let the wrong opponent get in on lead, then your holdup was was for naught. Like you didn't do anything. So you have to make sure that you're doing these avoidance on the second half of this. And you make sure that you sometimes take these weird lines to make sure that the wrong person never ends up on lead. Okay, let's do one more example and then we're gonna go ahead and call it a day. But thank you all so much for being with me. It's been a fun stream. Okay, so we're back from card play technique. This is one of the problems from the end of the chapter. So West opened the bidding with 3 hearts, so we're assuming this is a preempt with 7 or more hearts. And sitting south, we just went ahead and bid 3 now. West leads the queen, and we're assuming that they probably have queen jack 10 to head off their 7-card suit. So question number 1 is, well, we have 2 options here. We can win this first trick in the dummy, or we can win it in hand. So which of those do we want to do? And then what do we need to do on our second trick? So let's think about what's the danger here? What do we have to worry about? And how can we make sure that that doesn't happen? Yeah, that's the danger of me taking the problems from the card play technique, because everybody's gotten a chance to look at these already. I like having a second book so that we can have some problems that people hopefully haven't seen, or at least haven't seen recently. But I felt like this was a nice example, and I wanted to cover it. You already forgot it. Perfect. Breaks a general rule. Okay. Let's come back to that, BZ. I want to get through the explanation of this, and then I really want to hear what you have to say about it. So, our danger here is obviously West. West with those 7 hearts, if they are able to get back on lead once we have no more heart stoppers, is going to be able to run us and set our contract. They're going to get to take 5 tricks, and there's not going to be a whole lot we can do about it. So we do have opportunities, though. If we go ahead and count up our winners, we should have 3 club winners. We should hopefully be able to set up our diamonds. And then we have 2 spades and 2 hearts. So we kind of have 2 things that we have to do here. We have to set up our diamond winners, and then we also have to set up our clubs. And that means we have a choice. Which of those 2 things do we need to do first? Do we try and set up our clubs first, or do we try and set up our diamonds first? So once we kind of figure out which of those 2 things we need to do first, that's going to give us a clue about where we need to win the trick this time. This ends up fitting it with one of kind of the general rules they were saying here, which is that if you have to give up the lead twice on a hand, then you need to make sure that the danger opponent ends up on the lead the first time. So there's kind of 2 danger cards here. Where's the ace of clubs, and where's the king of diamonds? If West has the ace of clubs and the king of diamonds, there's absolutely nothing we can do, and this contract is just going down. But if West doesn't have both of those things, then there's some work we can do, and we can actually try and set ourselves up for victory. So, what do you think? Do we need to win this trick in hand or in dummy? Is it more important for us to try and flush out the club ace first, or take our diamond finesse? Maria's chiming in with in dummy, and I agree. And so if we win this trick in dummy, that's setting ourselves up to go ahead and just take that diamond finesse immediately. And it's really important for us to take the diamond finesse first. Because if our diamond finesse loses, if West is sitting there with the king of diamonds, we need to make sure that we get that king of diamonds out of their hand before we are out of heart stoppers. if we drive out the ace of clubs first, and then get the bad news that the king of diamonds is over there, we're not going to have any hearts stopped. Because say East has the ace of clubs, we play out our clubs, they win with the ace, and they're absolutely leading a heart back, getting rid of our hearts, and then we have to take our diamonds, and we'll get the bad news that West has it, and they'll get to run all of their hearts. So it's very, very important that we actually take our diamond finesse first, because if it doesn't work, then we need to make sure that we still have the stoppers for West suit. So okay, so this is BZ's comment here. So usually if you have two suits that need some work, you try to work on the one without the ace first. That kind of makes sense. I think like the reason it doesn't end up working out here is because there's yeah, Return's kind of nailed it, like that there's just like we don't have an avoidance play that's possible, so we have to do it as soon as we can. Yeah. So this is all about like this is something that I'm not great at doing, but it's something I'm definitely working on a little bit more after reading this chapter, which is just like looking at the hand, figuring out what's the worst thing that could happen to you, and then visualizing how to figure it out from there, and how to stop that from happening. Yeah, if West has all of that, then arguably West has an opening hand, right? Because they're sitting there with 10 high card points and a 7 card suit. So it would be kind of a lot for West to be showing up with all of that, but they could, like, you know, they could be 7-2-2-2 with 10 points. But yeah, I think it's likely that we're going to end up with one of those two things being off, and it's absolutely critical that we take the diamond finesse first. If they're switched, then the diamond finesse is on side, and we never have to worry about going to the clubs. We can get ourselves set up all the way through the diamonds. That's not true. I don't know why I said that. We still have to set up the club at some point. Okay, everyone. This has been, I think, a pretty good discussion. I'm excited to try and put some of these hold-up plays into a little bit more practice. I'm going to post, once we get off of here, I'll post a little bit of that discussion about that problem, that why like playing the queen of spades on that problem ends up being the right thing. You still need clubs, we just want to lose the ace to East after there are hearts. Yes. Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, we need to make sure that we're keeping West off lead with all of those hearts.